Now this dude's gonna be for beginners mostly. We're gonna be going a bit slower than usual. We're gonna be using basic tools and we're gonna be designing a sci-fi spaceship. So let's go. Now before we start, two things. One, if you're a complete beginner, go ahead and watch my UI and tools video before this one. I'm gonna show it to you on screen, okay? Links are in the video description. I explain everything in details, how to install plasticity, how to set everything up, how to understand the menus, where to find things, etc. Okay, now let's get started, yeah? So when you open a scene, you're gonna see a cube, so you wanna press 4 for solids, because that's a solid, you can see here. And you wanna press X to delete it, we don't need it. So hold Alt, and you can gesture with your mouse, holding middle mouse button. You can see keystrokes here on the left, right? Up, down, left, whatever, to adjust your view, and you can see it in the top here, okay? So we wanna be in a right view. So gesture with your mouse until you're gonna get into the right view, okay? So, from the side here, right? And we're going to start with curves, yeah? So click and hold to unroll this menu here. And we're going to click on this control point curve. And we're gonna create kind of like a really shallow, silhouette of a craft, something like this, right? Okay. And right click, you always right click to confirm. Well, then we're gonna tap shift here to create kind of like a guideline so we can precisely determine the starting point of the second curve. And we're going to go down a little bit and then goes flat here like this. And then we're going to go up like that here. Tap again and click and approve, okay? So I got these two curves, all right? So I'll press 2 and we're going to, for edges and curves, and we're going to drag our mouse from the bottom to select them. Navigate to the front, right? And G and X and move it in here. So not too far, somewhere here. And then we're going to approve it with a right click. Snatch this one and move it a bit further away, just a little bit like that, okay? Maybe somewhere here, right? And then we're going to press 1 for points. We're going to grab this point here, okay? And we're going to move it to the front, right, like that, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing here. So right click confirm and move this over. So the curve on the bottom here should be a little bit closer. So let's move it, right? Somewhere here, right? And the one on the back should be actually deeper as well. So let's select this. G and move it somewhere here, okay? So this one sort of is, further outside, okay? Peachy. So now we're going to select them both and we're gonna move them a little bit more on the x-axis, right? Here, holding shift, you hold shift to slow it down. And you're gonna press Alt-X to mirror to the other side and click here on the axis from which you want to mirror and approve, right? And you got this kind of a basic shape of our ship. Now, this front here should be a bit more flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to select these two, press 1, and we're going to move these curves a little bit up, okay? A little bit. And then we're going to grab these curves and actually move all of them up. So G, Z, right? Maybe somewhere here, okay? And that back is a little bit, a bit too aggressive. So let's just grab these 2 points and drop them down a bit here. And I think we're going to be good to go. This back actually could be a little bit more, kind of like relaxed here. So let's go to the back view and GG and maybe move it somewhere here. And then we're going to delete these. So press 2 for curves, delete them with X, right? Select them, Alt-X and remirror them. Unfortunately, plasticity doesn't have an active mirror modifier like Blender. So, you need to remirror stuff if you want to fix the, the other side, right? Cool, so we got that. You want to save that because reasons, right? So save as and whatever you want to save it. I'm just going to save it like that and good to go. Cool, so we got this basic, very basic shape. In fact, what we could do is grab these two, press 1, and then go to the side view, select these 2 points and kind of drive them up a little bit like that. And maybe even R, rotate them and sort of RR to rotate them like this, so the back is a bit more aggressive, than the front, yeah? And I think this is gonna be good. Cool. So we got the basic shell, and, now we can actually loft it. So we're gonna loft these two, but before we do that, let's actually create the front. So we're going to kind of determine the curvature of the front, right? So let's go to the front here, and we're gonna grab this curve now. So hold and grab this curve, and we're going to curve it here up, click on this middle x-axis and go down here and approve. Now press 1 for points, grab these points in G, Z and drop them down a bit because it's a bit too curvy, right? Right click and you're good to go. The sides can be actually straight, so what we could do is just do that, right? And then select this one and just do that, or you can press Shift A if you want. Now these are a bit too low in my opinion, so press 1 and we're gonna move them up a little bit here to create a narrower, this bottom part. And let's go to the front view, let's grab this curve and let's just create a tiny curvature here in the bottom like that, okay? Now make sure that all of them are connected, because we're going to be lofting. It will not work if they're not connected, okay? That's really important. Make sure they're connected. Here in the back, gonna do the same thing. So click here, navigate with your Alt and middle mouse button to the back. So here in the back, and create a gentle curvature again here, something like that is cool. Shift A, and we're gonna combine these two, right? And then Shift A, and we combine these two. And the bottom could be flat, so Shift A and flat. So now we're going to loft it. So what we're going to do is actually, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking about actually creating another guide in here to create a bit more curvature. So what we could do is grab this edge here, this curve, click somewhere in the middle and create kind of like a slightly curving, situation here, and then go to the side view and click somewhere here and right click to confirm. And now let's just make sure this is connected. Yeah, so GG and hold control and make sure you connect it to this edge, right? Not to this control point. That's very important. Yeah, if you did, just delete it and redo it. So this is going to be slightly curved. Now we can actually select these with 1, so press 1 for points and GG and kind of curve adjust a little bit, right? And don't worry about the left side, we're just going to be mirroring, so don't worry about it. So select this one and shift select this one, press L again, and now we're going to choose this one as a guide, shift select this one as a guide, and then shift select this one as a guide, right? So we're going to have this kind of a loft, but it's going to be slightly curved here. Right click to confirm and you're good to go. Peachy. So now here we're going to loft between these two, so select that and shift select this one, right? Press L for lofting, right? Click this one and shift click this one, and this didn't work, you see, and that's quite interesting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna nuke these two, right? We're gonna grab this face and Alt X to the other side to mirror it, and now we're gonna try this again. So we're gonna select this edge here, okay, or these two edges and these two, and we're going to press L to loft them. Tap your tab key twice to see the G0 connection, which is basically a flat connection between these corners, and then hold shift and click this one and click this one, and that didn't work. So what we're going to do now, we're going to try patching instead, right? So select this one with shift, this and this, and go here to the bottom and click on patch. And patch doesn't work either. This means that one of these edges isn't connected, okay? So what we need to do is we need to delete that and, delete that. And we're gonna redo this, okay? So let's grab, let's actually nuke these ones as well, so we don't need them, okay? So now let's redo that. So grab this curve here and combine this one with this one, right? Press Shift S and then G, Z and move it up a little. Okay, cool, that's a curvature. Go to the front here and we're going to nuke these two, right? Click on this one here and we can actually slightly curve it like this. And make sure you're gonna click, see when you hover over, two of them are highlighted, two of these edges, that's where you wanna click, that means it's really connected. Okay, so now it should work. Okay, so select this one, this one, this one, and this one, except for this one. Press L, then tap your tab key twice. And let's try to reconnect this one. Boom, now it's working, you see, and this one. So you see, when the edges are not connected or the curves are not connected, lofting will not work and patching will also fail, okay? So confirm that with right click and you're good to go. And now we're gonna do the bottom. So nuke this and nuke this one. Select these two, right? Loft them, tap twice, shift click here, that worked, and shift click here and we're good to go. Right click to confirm. Now we need to select all these sheets here and combine them into a solid. Well, not to a solid, to a kind of like a combined sheet first. So you can select them here with shift, right? It's easy. And press J to join them. Now you see I have one sheet. We don't need these curves, so we can select them and nuke them. And now what we have, we've kind of like a shell. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna patch it, but before we patch it, we're gonna actually cut these and make them a little bit more straight. So press Shift A for a curve and click here, right click to confirm, then press C for cutting, select the body you want to cut and right click to confirm, and then you're gonna have a cut here. So press 4, select that and nuke it. So you don't need that. We're gonna have a really nice, clean cut here, okay? In the back the same thing, so we're going to grab that and simply cut it here. So C, cut it, X to delete it, and delete that. And now we're going to press 4, click this, and we can now patch it, which will patch both ends and will change this sheet into a solid, right? Confirm with the right click and you're good to go. You don't have to attach patches, they are attached to the sheet automatically. So you're good to go. So now let's see if actually our shape is what we want. I think it's okay. It could be a little bit shorter. So what we could do is select that and actually squash this a little bit on the y-axis like this, right? Just a little bit, a bit smaller. I think it's going to be a bit better. Now what we're going to do also, we're going to sort of squash this a bit. So stretch it a little bit here and SZ to squash it a bit like that. So it's going to be a bit more wide, and I think it's pretty cool. Okay, awesome. So now let's select these two edges, or actually 4 edges, and we're going to run a bevel here like that. Okay, now this bevel could be a bit more generous if you wanted to, something like this maybe. And then the same thing in the bottom. So select all these 4 edges here, and we're going to bevel them as well. Now make sure these bevels don't overlap. That's actually quite important, You don't want that. Okay, cool. So we got this kind of a shape. And now we're gonna have some fun, okay? So let's first cut this here like this. So C and slash that. It's gonna be a bit more aggressive in the back. And also we could do the same thing here to make it more aggressive in the front. And you're also gonna get rid of these nasty kind of weird bevels that are very congested. Now we're gonna cut the cockpit, okay? So we're going to grab this curve here, and we're going to slash a cockpit like this, maybe something like this. And we're gonna go here, and one more time, here, and maybe click somewhere here and go up. And then C and slash it. There we go. So delete that. So now in order to run a bevel on this, right, what we want to do is we want to press 4, grab this one and go to local view with a period, okay? And we're going to alt click this and shift alt click all these to select them, and hold shift and move this handle up to create a bevel. Now this bevel is not going to be super even, but I don't really want to show you how to run advanced bevel with pipes and all that, because it may be a bit too confusing. You could actually run a variable width of a bevel, so let me show you. Just press Ctrl Z to go back if you want, to undo, and you can run a bevel here like this. It cannot be too big here, it gotta be small. Actually not that small, maybe a little bit larger, right? There you go. And you can press V to create kind of like a variable points. So let's say here and here. And now you can actually increase the bevel size here, right? You see that? Without actually affecting this bevel here, right? This could be, slightly smaller. So just hold shift. And you can more or less dial in, kind of like a more or less even bevel here. There you go, right? And we can mirror to the other side if you want to. So that's one. And let's just press period numpad to go back. And we're going to grab the top bit, right? And just go in, do the same thing. So alt click and shift alt click. Hold shift and just simply bevel this a little bit, yeah, just a little bit. Don't overdo it, right? A little bit is fine. And you're good to go. And if you want to hide edges, you can go here to F and toggle edges, right? I have a shortcut Control E, so right click if you want to assign shortcut, or you can also add it to favorites. So when you press F, you have favorites here, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press Control E to toggle edges to see how this looks. You can also go here and right click on this render icon and choose a mud cup, so you can see if your reflections are actually, peachy. All right, right click and let's switch back to this one. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go here to the front and we're going to actually press 3 for a face and Control E to get the edges back. And also if you want to enter this kind of x-ray mode, you can see edges through. You can either click this one or press Alt Z. It's really helpful when you want to select through, but sometimes it's very distracting. So 3 for a face and click here. O to offset and move your mouse a bit. And we're going to grab that. Select this face. Now, if you're going to offset it this way, it will not go very well. You see that, right? What's happening? So what we want to do is we want to go to the side view. And we're going to press E instead. And we're going to choose F for freestyle. So F. And click here on this point. And you drag. And you can actually see where this, where this extrusion is going. So we could go along this line. So you could press tap shift here and sort of run along the line here like this and right click, and it's gonna go in, but it's not gonna go, at a weird angle. Now this is a bit too deep, so we're going to kind of, probably move it back a bit. So let's just move it back a little bit like that. That's cool. In fact, what we could do is we could scale this, but I think it's gonna be fine. So grab this edge here and run some bevel or chamfer, whatever you want. I think bevel is fine. So we can run another cut here like this. Just press Alt Z to see that. We could actually create an interesting cut here like this. Press 1 for bevel, and we're going to bevel these. So you just have to see clearly. Don't chamfer them, bevel them, right? So like that. Cool. Right click. You can actually bring this curve closer. So press 2 G X. You can move it in here so you can see it better. And then we're going to kind of, sort of align it to create kind of like a more aggressive shark-like, sort of a mouth here, right? So C and left, right, okay? And then nuke this. Now we got two separate elements. We got this one, right? See? And this, this other piece. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna cut this middle piece. So make sure this one is selected, the one in the middle, right? And Shift A for a curve, and we're going to actually slice it like that here, okay? So C, click, and right click, and X to delete it, and we're gonna have this kind of a situation, which is pretty cool. All right, awesome. And here we're going to run the bevel, so 2, and make sure this entire edge is selected, and just run a tiny bevel here, not too big, okay? Don't overdo this. All right, and also we're gonna have a bevel on this one, so select that and run the bevel here too. You can actually copy the size of a bevel by clicking on this one, boom, right? And let's see how this looks. So also here, I wouldn't mind bevel as well. So either bevel or a chamfer, let me see that. I think just some small, I don't know, let me see that. Bevel is gonna be better, so something like this. Just trying to overlap other elements, with bevels. So let's just, Control E that and see how we're looking. That looks pretty cool, pretty aggressive. And we have to mirror this. Now, mirroring for solids and sheets, whatever, when the mirror goes across the object, it works a bit better. So Alt X. And now, if you copy that and you apply this, you're going to have two separate halves. If you want to merge them, you either click this one or press Q and then right click. Okay, so after mirroring, you're going to have one piece. If you're not going to do that, you're going to end up with two pieces like this. So you're going to have to press QQ to boolean them together. Okay, blue means union. Okay, union boolean. All right, so here what we're going to do, we're going to run from the top and quite deep and do something like this. Press 1 and we're going to bevel this like that. And we're also going to slice it. So C and slash this. Okay. and Control E to recover the edges, and Alt Z to hide the, what you call them. Now, this is a little bit unfortunate because we clipped the bevel, so let's do it again. So Control Z, let me just see that, GG, move it down a bit. You know, I don't want to clip bevels because it's usually bad news. So this is fine. So let's go again, C, and boom, that's better. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that, okay, and we're going to SS and skeleton all axes, right? And we're going to actually move it forward. So GG and move it somewhere here like this, up, okay, like that. And we're going to boolean them together, okay? So select them two in QQ and boolean them together, okay, like this. So that's peachy. And then grab this face and move it, and then you can actually click on this one to align them together, which is a pretty neat trick. It's called match face. Awesome. So now let's grab this edge here all around, right? And let's actually chamfer it. So we're gonna run a chamfer, okay, like this. And here in the middle, we're gonna run a bevel, okay? So just tiny bevel like this, okay? Awesome. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add some engines here, okay? So in order to add the engines, we're gonna, we're gonna draw them. So we're going to draw like this, here, here, and here, okay? Something like that. And make sure it's a closed loop. Now, you want to bevel things separately based on angle. So these two, for example, are similar angle. So select them with Shift B, and let's bevel them, okay? Like this. This one is different, so we're going to bevel it separately, right? Like that, okay? And these two are kind of together, so we can bevel them together. If you bevel them, all of them together, it's just going to look like shit. So this is kind of cool. Now, let's move this in here. I'm going to show you a cool trick. So let's press 2. And what I want to do is I want to create an engine here, of course, like this, right? Maybe that's too big. Maybe something, something like this here, right? But I want to create a smaller front and larger back. So what I mean by that is we're going to Shift D this to duplicate it, move this in here, and then SS and scale it, okay, like this. Let me see that. Cool. And we're going to combine these two and sort of select them both with Shift and press Alt to loft them. And you're going to get this kind of a cool shape. Press 4, select this one and patch it. Now you don't need these curves. You can remove them. So now we got a solid, you see. So we're going to select this one and this one. We're going to, I think maybe we can chamfer it or bevel it. Oh, fuck it. Let's bevel it. Okay. And we're going to move this engine closer, right? So G and move it somewhere here. And there you go. There's your engine. You could move it somewhere up here. Maybe like this. Maybe even align it a little bit more. You know, with this angle here. Maybe it's going to look a bit cooler. And also we could angle it a little bit. So go here, press 4. Angle it just a little bit. It's going to look a bit more aggressive. Then we're going to mirror to the other side, okay? Yeah, that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. Awesome. So now in addition to all this, what we're going to do is we're going to split the back here. So when you're going to be texturing, you're going to have a separate sort of like a section. So we could just simply slice it here, but we could follow an angle. So you're going to be echoing, basically following angle of from other elements. So we could follow this one, for instance. So click here, right? And then tap Shift like this and run a line on this angle. And we're going to move a GG somewhere here, or let's say somewhere here, and we're going to slice it. So C and slice it, right? So now we have two parts here. So we're going to bevel them separately, okay? So bevel this one. These bevels have to be tiny, okay? Tiny, don't overdo it. And make sure it's a bevel, not a chamfer. This is a chamfer, right? I think. You see that? Oh, wait. This is a bevel, right? Okay, one bevel. And then this one. Start beveling and just simply click on that and you're good to go. Right click and you're good. It's going to be quite helpful for texturing. And it's going to also separate this, this whole ship silhouette a little bit. And here in the background we want is we're going to kind of fin. So it's going to look a bit like a shark, which is going to be kind of cool. So something like that. We could actually lift it in here according to this angle. So something like this. And maybe here, and this bottom should be smaller, to be honest. Something like this, right? And boom. Okay, something like that maybe. Let me see that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. select that, and we're going to move this and press tab. So you're going to move on both sides. Don't make it too, too thick. It needs to be kind of thinnish. These two curves, we don't need them. We can nuke them. And we're going to bevel these, okay, to the softer. And we're going to bevel this one. So let me just press Ctrl E, I can't see shit. Bevel this one here, and we're going to bevel these two. All right, let's bevel these. So let's bevel them. PG. Now, before we union them, let's actually run a bevel here. So let's run a bevel on this one. Okay, like that. Good. And then we can press 4, shift click here, QQ to make it bluish, which means union, right click, and you're good to go. Then we're gonna alt click here to bevel that, okay? And then we can just create this kind of a bevel here, gonna large out. Make sure it's not gonna overshoot anywhere, so it doesn't look weird, and you're good to go. And how we're looking, let's just look at this using Modcap. Yeah, that looks really cool, guys. Looks really neat. I love it. Okay then, so now what we need to do, we need to connect these engines to the to the ship, right? So we're gonna create some kind of like some spokes or whatnot. Okay, so we can do it with planes. So what we can do is click this rectangle curve and draw something like this here, and we can actually cut it with another curve. So we can do something like that and cut it like this, and then we can trim it. So you can use the trim tool, right, to trim the excess of stuff we don't need. Now make sure that when you're trimming, everything is on the same plane, so they need to be overlapping, right? And then we can combine these into one with J to combine into one curve. So select that and just simply extrude it, and there you go. We don't need that anymore, and we can just grab these and run a bevel. And we can just run the bevel here on these, although we're not gonna be seeing them anyway. So, but let's just do that. So let's just grab these with Shift and this one, and we're gonna bevel them, and then click on these with Shift Alt and create a bevel like this, right? And then we can actually move them here and create some kind of just scale them down and scale them on x-axis and simply create some kind of connections here. It could be actually much thicker, so you can thicken them out. G, and maybe one of them could be like this, and the other Shift D, move it down, and maybe something like that. Okay, and this one could be more forward, so somewhere here, and maybe rotate it up a bit, so kind of like that. That makes sense. And this one could be rotated on the z-axis, so RR and just hold Control and rotate it. And then let's just go back here and GG and just move it to the back and a bit to the right on x-axis. And how we're looking? We're looking quite alright. Maybe we can do something like this. Okay, how we're looking? Well, not too bad, right? Should be a little bit higher, so here we go. Right, and we could rotate it as well. So R, X, sorry, Z, no, Y. No, wait, X, yeah. So rotate it on this axis, and this one, the one on the bottom, I think is fine. So let me see that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That will do. So grab them both and simply, move them to the other side. You're not gonna be seeing them anyway, so this is pretty cool. These engines could be a little bit more rotated just for the effect, like kind of like this. I think it's gonna be looking more aggressive. Do you see what I mean? So Alt X, copy, and boom. Yeah, that is really cool. So now what we can do, we can start adding some smaller details if you wanted to. So for instance, here we could, add some cut. So we could actually use this edge here. So you could select this edge. We can shift the edge to a curve. So watch, Shift D, right? Then you're gonna have a blue curve. Select the curve, press O for offset, and we can offset it inside like that, right? So do something like this, which is really cool. And we're going to combine this with a curve like that, okay? And what we're gonna do is make sure that these are connected. So let's just grab that and S, X, and 0. Let's move this on X here so we can see that. And we should be able to trim it now. So T for trim, and trim that and this one. And we're going to right click to confirm, select these with Shift, press J to join them. This one for a point, and select them with Shift B to grab a bevel, and we're going to bevel them. But you see they're of a different angle, but I think it's okay. And what we could do is move it slightly up here like that to offset it up a little bit. And we're gonna imprint it on this mesh. Okay. So now to imprint it, you're gonna press F, go here to imprint, and you wanna select this one, imprint curve body, okay? And then left click and you're good to go. And it's gonna go through, right? So here what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab that and we're gonna insert it just a little bit. So move it in, right? But we're going to sort of rotate it, right? So select that face, press R, and we want to rotate it here on this axis. So V to change pivot point, and select the axis here and hold Shift and rotate just a little bit and approve it. And now what we can do, we can actually move this. So grab this face, so 3, select the face, G for movement. And then what you want to do is you want to move it on this axis, which is X, right? So press X, start moving, hold Control to snap it here to this edge. That didn't really work the way I wanted to. One more time. So 3G V, right? There we go. And X, hold Control, and this should work more or less. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna, bevel this one a little bit, and we're gonna bevel this one. Okay. Cool. And we got this additional detail here in the front, which is awesome, okay? So let's just mirror this, Alt X, and then Q to merge it, right click, and you're good to go. Now let's go to Edit View and also nuke this curve because we don't need it. And let's see this in, in render kind of a view. That's actually pretty cool. We could have some additional design here on these engines, so let's do that. So we could Control E to select the edges, click here, tap Shift to draw these lines, and Alt Z so you can see them. And you can follow it here, then tap again here, right? Then tap again, right? There we go. And we're going to go back here, okay? Like this, right? And then press 1 for the points, and we're gonna bevel these. Gonna bevel them separately. So this one and this one will shift together, and this one as well. And then we're gonna imprint it. So again, F and imprint, right? Imprint curve body and imprint in here. We can actually nuke this curve here. We don't need it. And let's move it inside. Okay, like that a little bit. And again, we can, can chamfer this, and we can, bevel this. I'm not gonna be adding super, crazy details because this is just a very simple design. And we can nuke this one here and mirror this across, okay? And the last thing we can do is we can create some small detail here in the front. So we can select this face and press space, which is gonna create construction plane. And now we're gonna be aligned to this face. So let's draw from here, and we're going to snap to the middle line, left click and right click and Alt X and mirror this, and we're gonna combine them together, right? So press 2 for curve and merge them. And we're going to press 1 for points and grab these two and just do that. And so now what we want to do is we want to imprint this on this mesh. So F and imprint, right? Imprint that, but you don't want it to go all the way down. So you want to press this, you want to click this one, hide occlusion, okay? So it's not going to go all the way down. And we're going to select this single face here and this bevel. Let's try to press E and extrude it down a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Something like that. And this one here, we can grab and create a chamfer like this. And here we can run the bevel. So like that. Okay, and we could have some kind of a decal here in the front or whatnot. And now here in the back, let's grab the cylinder and we're gonna create some engines. So start drawing and press, and when you draw that, press B for new body, okay? Because we wanna adjust it first, okay? Right click and just GG, and with somewhere here, you can make it larger, right, like that. And I think this is gonna do, and move them in like this, okay? And what we're gonna do first, we're gonna actually we could merge them. So let's merge them. So 4 QQ and apply that. Apply the chamfer here. Press 3 for a face. O to insert it, and you know insert that. And there you go. Control R to create a loop and press tab to flip the orientation. One more time. And grab that and press 3 here. And we're going to drop this in like this, and Shift Alt select these two and bevel, okay? Cool, and then we're gonna, mirror this to the other side. So Alt X and mirror and Q, and we're done. Now to follow this kind of a cutout design, what we could do is actually run a cutout here as well. So click here, tap Shift, and do something like this. We could drop it down here like that, and actually tap this one and then run it up here and tap here as well, and you can sort of combine them here like this, right? Now this one is a little bit skewed, so let's just grab this point here and G and move it here with Shift, maybe somewhere here. There we go, maybe a little bit more. I think it's fine. And now we're going to select these two and press B, bevel them, and select these two and press B. All right, that's a chamfer, so let's go down and select this one. This one could be a bit more generous, right? So kind of like that. Cool. Now let's just move this somewhere here. I think it's gonna be better. Okay, and again F, imprint curved body, and we can go across. It's cool. Now you have two options, right? You could select this face and go across with it like that, but I don't think it's a good idea because we don't have any full cutouts. So I'm just gonna do this and do the same thing on the other side. Select these two with Alt and Shift, and simply what the hell? Hang on. One more time. Select that and select this one, and just create a tiny bevel here. There we go. And we're going to mirror this to the side. So mirror and boom, right? And I think it's gonna look pretty cool. You see that? Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Well, that's it for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. I'll see you in the next one.